Greetings in Christ. My name is Bishop Nectarios, and I am a bishop of the Orthodox Patriarchate of Nations. So I got a question asked for me today. Why do nice guys always finish last? Which is a bit cliche, but let's roll with it. So, the first thing that we need to discuss when it comes to being nice is that our society has endorsed for several decades, maybe more, this attitude that you have to take care of yourself, that no one else is going to stand beside you, um, and that everyone else is out for themselves too, and they're going to screw you over on contact. So we've taught several generations of people to be very suspicious of accepting help from anyone, and because we've taught them to be like that, they'll screw you over without a second thought. The idea of a person who just wants to live in peace, to not bother anybody, to not be bothered by anybody, still exists. But the idea of a person who has the ability to screw you over, but chooses not to, that's a lot more rare. You'll still find it among maybe your best friend and hopefully, but not always, your family. So the problem is that people mistake a desire to live peacefully and quietly with an inability to take action. They're saying to themselves, well, if he could have done something, he would have done something. And they ignore the fact that there are people out there that don't want to be like that. They don't want to have this worldly screw over everyone but me attitude, and then ironically get mad when people screw you over in return. So this attitude, this confusion, we used to see it big time in Hollywood. The quiet guy that's minding his own business and the bully that mistakes his quietness for being meek. Um, and not meek in the biblical way, but meek in the inability to protect himself from his bullying. And then what happens? He gets the tar kicked out of him. Um, but our society just doesn't want to reward people for being peaceful, for being good people, for being honorable. Um, and this is a change that's fairly recent. As I said, when I was growing up, there was still a lot of talk about your own personal honor and your word is your bond, and it's disappearing. I haven't heard that in almost 10 years. I think my dad still says your word is your bond, that kind of thing. So the problem is that when you get screwed over enough times and it hurts enough, you start to say, well, maybe I should stop being so nice to people. And the moment you stop allowing people to manipulate you, to take advantage of you, to hurt you, you become, the polite word they use is difficult, which means you're not willing to allow them to be abusive towards you. So, how does this affect your life as a Christian? Well, the first problem we have to look at is that your life as a Christian is filled with times when people are going to challenge you, people are going to insult you, people are going to try to run your face through the mud, and you're going to have to put aside the desire that we all have to educate them as to why it's inappropriate to be talking trash. You're going to have to go past your ego, and that's a challenge. Because we always think that we have to teach someone something. I'm going to teach this person a lesson. And no, you're not. You're going to get up, you're going to raise your voice, you're going to stomp your feet, and then they're going to call you a jerk or something more vulgar. You're not going to force them to shut up, and even if you go over there and beat the snot out of them, they're not going to stop just because you go over there and scare them. Mm-mm. That's not how that works, Skippy. You're going to go over there, you're going to say this and that and the other thing. They're going to tell you off because there's no real consequences short of getting their butt kicked. And even then, I mean, usually a butt kicking just pisses people off more. So it's not a tactic that works. But most of us are societal. Most of us are tribal. We can't really live without our community. So what happens when you start to take that away? Because people start to believe the rumors or the crap talking that's going on about you. And how do you defend yourself from a rumor? You could tell people it's not true and they'll nod very politely because it's you saying it. But unless they know you like your best friend knows you, or like your mother knows you, or your father, chances are they're going to have a question in the back of their head. They just don't want to get into it with you. So they're just going to dismiss it. You have to be the loving one. You have to be the one who's going to stand up and say, no more. This is done. I'm not going to feed into this. Now, if they try to put hands on you, that's different. Among the Orthodox, self-defense is acceptable. You have the right to live free in this country, and you have the right to live without fear of being assaulted by another person. But you also have to ask yourself a couple questions. Once hands go up, you've lost, because your greatest tool is managing the situation. Once your hands go up, you are left with only really one option: to slug it out. And people can get hurt and people can go to jail, and that can be a lot of drama. The best thing is just to leave it be. You got to really work on developing a concern that God knows the truth and God knows what really happened, and I answer to Him. Who cares what these guys think? Because what else are you really worried about? I mean, these people don't bear any love for you. Why allow them the opportunity to rot your soul? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, I've never seen someone hesitate to be obnoxious when they think it's necessary. Whether that's a person who thinks that they have to say something to defend themselves, or that they have to prove something because it's been called into doubt. You know, even among enlightened folks or intelligent folks. As a matter of fact, intelligent folks, and you question their thought and they're going to try to come up with some proof to prove you wrong, because intelligence is something that they value and you're questioning something that they value. But the thing is, if you're right and you know the fact that you're right, well, what does it matter? If they want to go through life thinking wrong things and they're not going to listen to you when you try to tell them this isn't correct, well, who made you the sheriff of academia? It's not your job to clean up their knowledge pool. They'll go through life, and if they ever happen to make use of that knowledge, they'll find out they're wrong then. But if you call them out on it, they're just going to call you a know-it-all, or they're going to challenge you on something. It just doesn't make any sense to me. It's not a rewarding thing to deal with people who mistake kindness and gentleness for weakness. You're never going to convince them. They're going to be hostile towards you. They're going to challenge you. They're going to try to make you feel like you're less than you really are. And that is an actual hater, interestingly enough. People call other people haters when they call them out, but 9 times out of 10, what they're really saying is, yeah, I acted like a jerk, but don't call me out on it or else you're a hater. When in reality, what a hater is someone who speaks untrue things about another person. It's a person that is unhappy that you are succeeding because they cannot. That's what a hater is. So, why give these people any time of day? You know they're going to be trolling you. If you're right, it won't matter. They'll still troll you. They'll insult you. They'll try to drive your patience to its very edge. And when you're done, you get nothing for it. One thing I've always noticed is that if you act like the biggest and baddest dude out there, there's a line of people waiting to try to beat the biggest and the baddest dude so they can feel like the biggest and the baddest dude. And what's the point? Do you really want to be that guy that's always thumping his chest and telling everyone, I'm the biggest, toughest person there is, and everyone else is an idiot? All right, cool. You can have that. So, when we're going through all this, let's get back to the basics so that we can recap a bit. People mistake kindness for weakness because of what our society has taught them. Our society values people who are driven and ruthless. And they forget that eventually you burn so many people that you're alone. And then they become cold and angry because they fail to connect the fact that they have been hurting people for a long time with the reality that they are now alone. And can you blame them? Who wants to admit that they've done something stupid or foolish or scummy? I don't know too many people that are willing to be humble enough to admit that. It doesn't feel good, and it doesn't reward you, so they set it aside. No, at least it doesn't reward you right away. Humility is how you overcome the snares that are in this world. Being honest with yourself, your limitations, and it never ends, because when you deal with one troll, another troll will kick in. And sometimes that troll's friends that you just spent all that time arguing with will see their friend losing and jump in and just start smearing you and threatening you and insulting you and questioning your manhood and questioning your intelligence. Name it. Name it. Is that what you really want for yourself? Do you want to spend your time chasing these people who do not care about you, who do not feed your soul, chasing these people who do not have respect for you, and trying to argue with them for no gain and, frankly, no benefit? Because that just seems like a waste of your time. Even if you win, you lose, because they'll just switch to attacking you personally and sometimes physically. It's just not worth it. Let other people say what they want. When it comes time to show people reality, that is really what the deal is. I mean, what happens? You go to the gym, you start working out, you get in good shape, and what do they say? You're taking steroids. You go to school, you get a good degree, and they say, ooh, look at who's better than me now. You decide, I'm going to start eating healthier, and they say, what a fag. You know, it never ends. You could do anything good for yourself that you can think about, and someone will have a negative opinion of it. And there's never an end. It's rotten. It's rotten to who you are. It is brutal to your soul. And what it does is it corrodes your soul in the same way that, there used to be this quote, never argue with an idiot. They'll pull you down to their level and beat you with experience. And indeed, the more your soul gets rotted away, the more you start to think that retaliation is what's absolutely unavoidably necessary. You got to prove your point to this person, and yes, you're right. Okay. Do you have to be right? Do you care? Is it worth your heart? Is it worth losing the person you want to be to become the person you can't stand? I don't think so. And I see it more and more and more, and it kind of breaks my heart a little. My favorite people are the quiet guys that mind their own business. They're the ones that, A, are probably the most dangerous people in the room, but B, they're the ones who don't have to prove something. It's one of my favorite things about martial artists, as a matter of fact, not to get off topic, but martial artists are aware of their ability to fight. And because of that, you don't see a lot of the machismo stuff in most schools. Now, I realize there are exceptions to that rule, but most of my life I've done martial arts, and they're the nicest, humblest guys there are because they're aware of the fact that they're capable of protecting themselves. They don't have anything to prove. They've gotten into the ring how many times? They've got punched in the face how many times? And they know if something happens, I at least have these skills that I can draw on. And knowing that, they feel better about who they are and what they can do. Now, it's said that a man needs skills in order to be really a man. And for the most part, there's a lot of truth to that because a man needs to be useful. A man needs to feel like he is valued and means something. And usually, what you're seeing with trolls are people that have not succeeded. Think about it. Can you name one mega troll aside from, I think, well, I'm not even going to say that name, am I? Aside from a certain person in the music industry who's kind of infamous for trolling people. Because he's successful, but he built his brand on that. So aside from him, can you think of even one person who is trolling you who's more successful than you are? And more than that, think about how all the people in your life who are very successful at what they do. Would you say that those people celebrate your successes, cheer you on, and encourage you to do better and bigger things? Or would you say that those people try to tear you down and try to discourage you from accomplishing other things? Because those are the people you really should surround yourself with. The people that we've been discussing in this video, those that mistake kindness for weakness, are the people that if you surround yourself with them, you're going to have a toxic life. There's just no other way about it. They don't care about you. They're mad that you're doing the thing that they consider impossible. So, that's it for today. There's more on this topic, but I don't want to get too far off base. I mean, we've already kind of bounced around a little bit, giving you some examples. Martial arts, haters. And really the solution is humility. It's divorcing yourself from the understanding that you need to be right. That the opinions of other people have power over you. Unless you allow them, and then that's a whole different problem. Humility is how you defeat the snares of this world. And without it, you're lost. Anyway, if you're just joining our channel for the first time, hit the like and subscribe button. It's really going to help out the channel. We have more and more videos coming out, and we've just started discussing a variety of topics, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the future. We've got other projects coming up. There is going to be a sub-channel for martial arts that's going to be developed. I'm going to be doing some interviews with other clergy from the Orthodox Patriarchate of Nations. My plan is to interview Metropolitan Melchizedek and Bishop Sadao. And I can't wait to have those questions because there's going to be a bigger discussion from that. The things that they discuss, the things that they touch on will be an opportunity to expand on the life of a Christian and some of the more in-depth things that Christians believe. So, as always, God loves you and I love you. Take care. God bless. Peace.